Hi everyone, my name is Evangeline.
My name's Amergen.
And this is Music to Our Ears, a show where two people passionate about music sit down and talk about music and the ideas that surround it. For the music industry, the biggest night of the year comes down to a winter Sunday in Hollywood, California, where the Recording Academy recognizes excellence in music performance, production, and creation through a little award ceremony known as the Grammys. Since 1958, the Recording Academy has dedicated this night to the celebration of music with awards in all sorts of categories, from the big four of album, record, song, and artist of the year, to smaller awards like Best Choral Performance and the Best Immersive Audio Album. The Grammys was created to match other industry award shows such as the Oscars and the Emmys, starting with 28 awards and eventually expanding out to 109 in 2009. But pulling it back to 96, where it stands today. In total, the award show has given out over 1,500 golden gramophones to thousands of artists for various accomplishments across the industry.
Although the show has always proven popular, consistently competing for the top spot for viewership among other such award shows and large televised events such as the Super Bowl, the show has also been a lightning rod for criticism from the music community. Both winning and losing musicians have complained about the nature of the show, seeing it as a way for the entrenched music establishment to keep popular artists at the top of the pile and recognizing commercial success rather than artistic merit. The Recording Academy has also consistently been accused of being too conservative and not respecting more forward-thinking styles of music. To quote John Carmenarca from the New York Times, speaking of the 54th Annual Grammy Awards, "For the umpteenth time, the Grammys went with familiarity over risk, bestowing Album of the Year honors and several more on an album that reinforced the values of an older generation suspicious of change."
This friction between the industry and the music community has created an ever-increasing number of artists who do not show up for the awards and publicly criticize the show. After the 53rd Annual Grammy Awards recording artist Bon Iver stated that everyone should go home. "This is ridiculous. You should not be doing this. We should not be gathering in a big room and looking at each other and pretending that this is important." To further support the sentiment, he continued that 96% of the people in that room, their art is compromised by the fact that they're thinking that they're hoping to get that award. And who is that award given by? It's like they think it's literally handed down by the musical history gods. Some artists have even gone further, with Abel Tesfaye or The Weeknd stated after not getting nominated for the 63rd Annual Grammys, "The Grammys remain corrupt. You owe me, my fans, and the music industry transparency."
Now, we're dealing with a pretty big organization here.
We are.
And a very storied, show with a lot of history behind it.
Yes, we are.
Neither of us have been nominated for a Grammy.
Nope.
Neither of us have won one.
Not yet.
Okay. So we thought it would be a good idea to bring in someone who not only has done both these things, but kind of knows
a thing or two.
Let's just say a thing or two about the industry, about the Grammys, about the Recording Academy, and about how this whole thing shakes out. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to bring him here on set, and we're going to talk to him.
See ya.
The Basic Needs Center is a resource center for students where we have a vision to inspire and nurture a thriving community. My role is to facilitate conversations where we have peer-to-peer conversations and work on building strategies for the student. We have tons of programs such as our food pantry, our textbook lending program. Every Thursday we have a breakfast club where students are welcome to make themselves a bagel or cook themselves some eggs. We do host cooking classes in collaboration with our dietetic interns, or we host them on a seasonal event. As long as you're an active student, you're welcome to utilize our resources and give access to our Corvallis community for our food pantries on Wednesdays. We also give volunteer opportunities where students can get to know us, get to understand how we function here at the Basic Needs Center. The community is outstanding. We all come from different experiences, and we share our resources to build a strong relationship. Community is a basic need. Many of us aren't really familiar that how beneficial community plays an influence in our lives. Come by to the Basic Needs Center. We are a welcoming space. OSU funds us to support you. We also have an Instagram and a Twitter. It's at BNC@OSU.
Welcome back. Please welcome Grammy Award-winning music historian, producer, and educator, Bob Santelli. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So we're going to ask a couple of Grammy questions, and we're pretty excited.
Yeah.
Do you want to take it off?
Yeah, so I think the first thing to ask, how'd you get started? Because you initially started with the Grammy Museum.
Yeah.
How'd you get started working with that? What was the process kind of getting in there?
Well, my career really began as a music journalist, and I was writing for Rolling Stone magazine, among others, back in the day, and the publisher of Rolling Stone magazine, his name is Jan Wenner. He started the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but he didn't have any curators to put it together. So we kind of deputized 5 of us to put together the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And we became music museum curators. Didn't really know what that was, except it was kind of like being a journalist. You tell a story, but instead of just using words, you could use artifacts, or multimedia, etc. And so I did that. And of the 5, 2 of us moved to Cleveland to open the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I did. And I just fell in love with museum work. And so I switched out of journalism and went into the creation of music museums. So I went from Rock and Roll Hall of Fame up here to the Northwest to Experience Music Project, today known as Mopop in Seattle, and then down to Los Angeles to do the Grammy Museums.
Of course, the show's topic is the Grammys. So there are, there are thousands of Grammy submissions every single year. How does a submission go from a submission to someone actually being on stage holding the gramophone?
Well, you have to be a member of the Recording Academy, so you have to be asked to be a part of this, right? So this voting process. But if you have a piece of music that comes out and it fits within the registration dates, that would then go to a committee. So let's just say you did a country album, you did a hip hop album. We would hear this music and it would go to the appropriate committee. The nominating committees, they have the hard job because they have to listen to all of this and then make the recommendations. So from the nominating committees come the actual nominations, which is usually 4 or 5, right? And that's what the general, if you will, body of the Recording Academy votes on. Not everyone is a voter. We have over 20,000 members of the Recording Academy. But if you just come in, let's just say you joined the Recording Academy because you're in the music business, doesn't allow you to qualify for being a voter. You have to get to that point of being a voter. But then they would vote. No one knows until they literally open up the envelope that night to see who won.
And voters are anonymously selected, or they, because there's been some controversy before about like anonymous. Is it the selection committees that are anonymous, or the actual like voting groups that are?
We
anonymous?
don't tell who's on the nominating committee.
Okay.
Again, because there would be too much politicking.
Yeah.
Hey, please vote for my record. My record's great. It would be so much of that because winning a Grammy is the best thing that could possibly happen to your career, other than making a lot of money, right? But winning a Grammy will make you a lot of money, except in my case. I didn't make a lot of money when I won a Grammy, but it happens. And so you try and keep the artists and their agents and their record companies at bay. Everything is done very, very quietly without any big to-do, simply because you don't want that influence and that peddling, because it could become easily corrupted, so you got to be careful.
Yeah.
And what about the nominees that weren't submitted? Because, for example, with Lana Del Rey, she's been nominated 6 times in the past, and apparently she barely found out that you could submit this year, and she didn't know. So
she should know, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that her manager should know. That to me, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Your people should know. You don't have to know the artist, but your people should know, and they should know when the record is coming out. So many artists make sure that their releases come just before the deadline, right? That was unacceptable. Somebody slipped up there.
Yeah.
And when you're nominated, right, you'll hear artists being introduced. 6-time Grammy nominee. Just to be nominated, that means you're one of 5 greatest hip-hop albums or blues albums. That's an honor unto itself. And there are some artists that go through their entire career. They get so close. 8-time nominee, and they don't win. But they still say Grammy nominee because that, too, just being nominated is a big honor.
Unless you have a question.
go for it.
So the Grammys have been You know, because it's a big industry award, it's a big night. There's a lot of controversies around artist selection, artist nomination, people getting snubbed, all that sort of stuff. Internally, in terms of like the Recording Academy, is there like, are these things processed? Are these things handled? Are there discussions about these things? Or is a lot of it just kind of pushed off and the Academy kind of handles it as it does?
No, we take it all very seriously. You take your criticism seriously, absolutely. We do know, however, you can never please everyone. You know, I should have been nominated, you know, or so-and-so should have been nominated. Quite honestly, the people who put on the show and the people who worked there, like myself, we have just 18,000 people who vote. They didn't vote for you. That's, you know, I had nothing to do with that. And you weren't nominated? Well, that's because the nominating committee didn't think it was worthy. But it's not a reflection on the Recording Academy itself. But when those frustrations arise, they have nowhere else to aim it but at the Academy. And sometimes they're very good. I mean, for a long time, did not have a lot of women. And we listened and we changed that, right? They thought that the Academy itself was too dominated by pop and rock. Where was hip hop? So we took care of that. So we listened to all of that. We take it seriously. And sometimes it's just griping or sour grapes.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, the ideas are good that come from it. So we do take it seriously.
And that comes out with a lot of the, like changing the different ways to, different categories.
Yeah.
Sure.
The Grammys went through like a big change up a few years ago where they
Yep.
combined a bunch of categories and
Right.
threw out a bunch of them.
That's the hardest thing, because let's say you make an album and it has elements of punk and elements of heavy metal. You know, it's a bunch. Where do you put it? You know, should it go in a hip hop? Should it go in a punk category or hard rock category or metal? It sometimes it's a crapshoot as to where it should be, and then you put it in here, and the artist says, no, I want it in here, and you just it goes on and on. Those are I think the things that frustrate us the most. I'm saying us as if I were still there, but it's the categories. You got to put them somewhere, right? And sometimes, you know, is it country or is it rock? It's got a lot of rock in it, but it's got some country, and it's hard. It's hard to do. And we always get comments and criticisms like, why is that in this category? And sometimes we blow it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we don't. It's just a matter of where it goes.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think I just have one more question, and then we'll let you go.
Sure.
You have won a Grammy.
Yeah.
I have.
From the artist perspective, kind of walk us through that. What was the process like for that?
Well, first of all, I was nominated once and then won once. So I was actually, it's twice. I did a series of albums for the Smithsonian, and they're historical albums on 3 artists that I consider who, since I was a kid, I admired and got a lot of inspiration from. Woody Guthrie, Pete Seeger, and Lead Belly. And so I did these 3 major albums with my team. And the first time, we didn't win, and I thought we had a really good chance, but you just never know. I didn't know how many were in that category. We found out later on. There was a lot of them, and we did. But we were nominated, and to me that was, wow, if I could never dream of doing, because this is not my full-time job, being a record producer. The second time, I said, it was up with the 50th anniversary of Woodstock, which had a big set coming out, and we all thought for sure. My wife and my kids say, should we come down? Come down to the show. I said, we're not going to win. Don't even bother. So they stayed here in Corvallis, and they went to the taco place in town. And so they're listening, watching it on the phone, right? And I just show up barely in time because I had things going on at the museum, and I figured there's no way I have to show just in case. I didn't prepare anything, and son of a gun, we won. I heard that all the tacos went up in the air, kids screaming, my kid, oh my God, Dad won, Dad won, Dad won. So there was a big celebration here in Corvallis, and I had to go up. I've been for 18 years dealing with the other side, giving Grammys out and working, and now all of a sudden I'm at that podium, getting an award, and I had to say something. And then what happens after you win? You go through a whole series of things. There's all kind of interviews. They take your picture. It's about 10 steps, and I always saw that from a distance. I could see it going on backstage when I was backstage. Never participated, but now, get your makeup on and take it. It was wild. It was once in a lifetime opportunity, and so winning that. Was a surprise. It was a highlight of my career, and I'm forever grateful that I had the opportunity to do it, and then that people voted for me.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for coming in.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah. So with that, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about what we think about this year's nominations. Once again, Bob Santelli, thank you for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Lucas Paris, and welcome to another episode of Take 5, where we're going to be talking about the top 5 places around town to de-stress. Let's go. So first up, we have Dixon Rec Center, where you can go to exercise your cares away. I like to run on the treadmills on the very heavy weights in this gorgeous facility. Next up, we have Bald Hill. It's a great place to escape the stresses of campus and the city to enjoy Mother Nature in all of her beauty. And then we have Heartland Humane Society, where if you ask nicely, you can pet their animals for infinite stress relief. Coming up next, we have Avery Park, a great place to hang out with friends, walk around, play games, or just be outside in general. Finally, we have the MU Lounge, fit with cozy couches, and if you're lucky, you might just hear someone playing the piano. And those are your top 5 places to de-stress in Corvallis. If you have a favorite stress relief spot that we left out, feel free to let us know in the comments below. This has been Take 5. Thanks for watching.
And we're back. So we've learned a fair bit about Grammy history.
Yes.
And a fair bit about how the organization works. Let's talk about the work product.
Okay.
Let's talk about the nominees for this year, the 65th Annual Grammy Awards.
Okay.
So starting at the top, we've got the big 4. Best Album, Best Record, Best Song, Best New Artist.
Yes.
So, big ones today. Of course, Taylor Swift is up there.
Of course she is.
Of course. Well, she has to be, right?
Yeah, like I said, she supported a whole economy, so.
And
Very
the
cool.
Grammys are a commercially focused industry. Anti-Hero was very successful.
Yes,
Midnight's
it
very
was.
successful.
Yes, it was.
We've got her. We've got Billie Eilish up there.
Yeah.
We've got Lana Del Rey. Very happy about that one.
I mean, I can't be too happy because she's gonna lose. So I can't be too happy about it because I think they just invite her there just to make her miserable, just to have her be like, oh my God, I might get it this time, and then not get it. They just hate her for what critics hate Lana, and I don't understand. I understand why, but I don't understand why.
You get it, but you don't get it.
I don't want to get it. Okay.
That's fair.
Anyways, continue.
We've got Boy Genius, of course, which is interesting. We have not seen a more alternative focused album not winning, but nominated for Best Album of the Year. That's pretty unique. Although it does, with Phoebe Bridger behind Annie, that is kind of that's a lot of star power.
Yeah, I was about to say no shock.
No, absolutely not.
No shock.
So yeah, that's a collection there. Personally, I don't think there are a few others in there as well. Victoria Monet's up there. John Baptiste is in there.
Yes.
I think, personally, I agree with you. I don't think Taylor's going to win. I think they have to put her in there because, once again, it's a commercial show. But
also, if they didn't put her in there, I feel like even if you don't listen to Taylor Swift, because I don't listen to her, I'd still be shocked if she wasn't nominated just because of how famous her album is and also how famous her tour was.
Right.
That broke a lot of records. And so for her not to be nominated would be okay, now this is kind of weird. No,
absolutely. But I don't think she's going to win, though. I think, I agree with you. I don't think Lana's going to win either.
Yeah, of course she's not. I'm not bitter.
Honestly, I think the runners here are going to be the Billie Eilish album.
And Boy Genius.
Yeah. I don't think Victoria Monet is going to get it. Just because I don't think...
She's not been in the spotlight as much as the other two.
Same with John Baptiste as well.
Unfortunately.
So I think it's a runner between those two.
Yeah.
And out of those two, honestly, I wouldn't care either way.
I mean, they both have similar sounds.
Yeah.
Similar. Not exactly the same because Boy Genius, as I would say, is a little bit more indie-wise. And Billie Eilish used to be indie, but now she's more pop. But I feel like themes within their songs are kind of similar. Yeah. So, yes.
And then, another nomination I forgot, there was a Miley Cyrus's album as well, which I've heard nothing about, but it's there.
I mean, it's Miley Cyrus, so it's almost like publicity kind of thing, not so much that she might win.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Well, I feel like, honestly, I feel like the reason why she got nominated is because her album's supposed to be a more vulnerable Miley Cyrus. And I feel like vulnerable is like the word for the Grammys, because if you're vulnerable in any kind of music, you're going to get nominated just by default. I feel like it's like a big...
Yeah, the Grammys do love the Grammys love a good story behind
A good
an album.
sob story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely true. Yes. A few upsets though in the smaller categories. So, was it best duo pop, best pop duet, something around
Yeah,
that?
something like that.
One of the noms in there was Karma. That's Taylor Swift and Ice Spice, which is deeply upsetting.
Tell me about it.
Well, it's a terrible song. I'm sorry, it is. And that's not even like, this isn't even like Taylor hate, all right? This is just like Ice Spice adds nothing to the song.
Well, Karma, the song itself, is good.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's just such a weird combination too. Like, where did we get, like, to me, it'd make more sense for it to be like Nicki Minaj and Taylor Swift, but like, Ice Spice, like how did Taylor Swift and Ice Spice meet? You know, like this just seems like very much an industry plant moment, and it's so blatantly there that it's like, do I really want to enjoy this? I don't know.
No, a lot of it feels like it's just there because Taylor's there.
Yeah.
The issue is that, once again, it's a duo performance.
Yes.
So both artists have to be rated. Taylor's fine, Ice Spice is horrendous. And this is saying, like, this is in the same nomination year where, Boys a Liar Part 2 is in there. Which is an amazing song. It's been played everywhere.
Everywhere.
Right? Everyone knows the song. And the fact that it would, at first I was like, okay, maybe it wasn't submitted, right? Because maybe Pink Panther's trying to able it back. Maybe it's like an album play.
But the thing is even if it's not submitted, it's still nominated. Like, I mean, Lana Del Rey's last 6 nominees, she didn't know she could submit things until this year. So this is the only time she's ever submitted anything. So even then, the Grammys could have taken a clue and been like, oh, let's do this one.
Yeah.
So I just think it just wasn't nominated.
Yeah. Which, like I said, is a shame because it was everywhere. It's a great song. Out of all the collabs Ice Spice has done over the past year, I think she's done 4 of them. It's the best one.
Well, yeah, what's kind of funny is if Ice Spice or whomever were to submit, why submit that one? Because I feel like Ice Spice has done better duo performances than the one with Taylor Swift.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's also very confusing. Who made that decision?
Well, also, hasn't Taylor Swift done better duo performances as well this year?
She's done phenomenal duets this year. So I'm like, what is going on, people? And I'm not even a big Taylor Swift fan, but I know because they're on the internet all the time of her different duets. And what?
No, it's a weird one. So best duo performance, that one's
Yeah.
weird. The rock category is weird this year as well. There were a few albums in there. What is it? Black Pumas is up there, which is weird because they're an actual blues group. Their big thing is blues, and they're not in the blues category. They were put in the rock category, which is super weird.
Odd.
What is it? The Car was nominated, which, I'm an Arctic Monkeys fan. They could have done. I like The Car. I also like The Car, understanding that it's not that good of an album.
Okay. Okay. Well, see, I'm also a big Arctic Monkeys fan. And I just feel like if you compare all their they have never had a bad album until this album.
I disagree with that, but okay.
I feel like all their albums are so good, especially their old one. Their old ones, where the kind of beige looking one. I forgot what it's called.
I know which one.
Thunderstorm or something like that.
Yeah, I know what one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes, that one is even good, and that was so low budget, and you can tell. But this one, high budget, low quality music. How? Why? Why?
Although I do think "Sculpture of Anything Goes," which is the song that was nominated,
that song.
I think that
song
will
is
win.
so good. That song they actually channeled old Arctic Monkeys a little bit, but the rest sounds like a bunch of white dudes trying to do blues, and it's not good. Sorry about it.
Hater.
It's true. It's
Hater.
true. It's true.
Talking to me about drinking Haterade. I think it's either going to be "Sculpture of Anything" for best rock song. It's going to be "Sculpture of Anything Goes" or the Foo Fighters song.
Yes. Okay. Agreed.
Yeah, it's
Agreed.
one of those two. And honestly, if the Foo Fighters won, I'd be fine with that. I'd be like, you know what? It's a good song.
I love the Foo Fighters. Yeah. Sorry. Also just love Dave Grohl. So him winning anything, woohoo!
Yeah.
I'm there for it. I'm so there for it. Love that man. Yes.
Yeah. There were a few. The rock category is always weird because it's with the Grammys, because the Grammys restructured a ton of categories like over the past few years,
Yeah.
and rock is one of the ones that kind of got hit the most because there's a lot of sub awards that got shoved just into the plain rock category.
That's what I
And
was
it's
about
like,
to say, is that there's so many subgenres to rock that how do you really categorize it at all?
No, exactly. Let's see. You were talking about R&B versus melodic rap. That category makes no sense.
It makes no sense. Makes no sense. R&B, rhythm and blues is what the acronym is. Melodic rap is rhythm rap.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference? By definition, what is the difference between the two? I just think they were like, oh, we need more rap categories. Let's do it. There's other rap categories. There could have been like trap rap, which is very different. That's like your Suicide Boys and that kind of rap. Like there's different raps than melodic rap. Like let's leave that one alone. Let's do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Also, trap music is so underrated in that it's never awarded for anything serious.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is not fair because yes, trap rap is not for everybody and it's very much in your face. But it's there, and there's some phenomenal artists who are within that category. So let's bring it.
You know, there are a ton of other categories here, and we can't touch everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, that definitely touches like the big ones that I'm thinking of.
I think that's the ones that everybody's thinking of too.
Mm-hmm.
So
But yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, with that, yeah, like you said, we'll see.
We'll see.
So now we just have to wait for the actual Grammys to happen, and then you know what? We can yell about who got snubbed and who didn't. So there you go.
Yay.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Eva Kaylene.
Hi guys, welcome back to Music to Our Ears. I'm Amergen,
I'm Evangeline.
and it is now a few days after we recorded everything that you just saw, and the Grammys have passed. The Grammys were yesterday, or 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
And we have thoughts, namely that Bob lied to us.
Whoa. That'd be nice. He didn't lie. He was honest, but the committee is here to blame because
We were told lies. We were told the Grammys take things seriously and they listen to complaints. And you know what? I don't believe them. To be clear, we love Bob, but
I don't think Bob had anything to do with this.
it was a disappointing year.
But it was a very disappointing
Listen,
year.
I'm just mad because I went, after our interview with him,
You felt good.
I felt
confident.
good. I was like, you know what? The Grammys, good. You know what? I'm not concerned. You know what? Whoever is gonna win is gonna deserve it. And then I watched the Grammys and I was like, actually, no.
Yeah.
It was a rough year.
It was a very rough year, y'all.
Of course, we have to start with the top four: album, record, song, and best new artist.
Yeah, basically.
So,
Record of the year.
and you know what? Miley Cyrus won.
Miley
Flowers.
Cyrus won.
Which, you know what?
I don't know. I mean, Flowers was on like the radio non-stop,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not like I'm shocked by this. But also, I honestly thought Vampire would have won. Olivia Rodrigo.
I'm very happy Vampire didn't win. I thought, out of those, the thing is, I was worried for a second because when we did our initial sort of run through of all the nominees, we completely forgot SZA because SZA was nominated for a ton of these categories.
Yeah, she was.
But it actually turns out it's fine because the Grammys forgot her as well. They shoved her in the R&B hole and left her there. I honestly thought Kill Bill was going to win.
That is so fair. Now that I look at this again, because we did not talk about Kill Bill at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it
was everywhere. Kill Bill was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It was on TikTok, it was on Instagram, it was on Twitter. People made memes out of the song. I mean, it was everywhere. And
It was insanely well made.
yeah.
Like
Her whole album was insanely well made.
No, great song, great album, and like I said, I don't have anything against. I don't have anything against Flowers except for the fact that it's it was so overplayed that anytime I hear it, it's like
change.
skip. Yeah. But you know what? Fine. I that's the thing. I'm kind of like, it's not one that I'm like excited about. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Like if SZA won it, I think that would have been huge.
I think it would have made more sense.
I think if Victoria Monet won it, that would have been huge. Jean Baptiste won it, that would have been huge. But maybe Billie Eilish would have won it as well. Because Billie Eilish won another one down in the Big Four, which made sense. But I don't know. It was overall just not too exciting of a selection.
Okay.
Best pop duo, Ghost in the Machine. That's the one
I'm just
thing
happy
that's
that
running outside of
Karma
R&B.
featuring Ice Spice didn't win, because at that point I'd throw everything out the window.
Yeah, true.
But my favorite was Candy Necklace of this category, and of course it didn't win because it's Lana Del Rey and everybody hates her. So next, best rock song.
Boy Genius.
Boy Genius.
I
Over
love-
Dave Grohl. Okay.
Yeah, over that great Foo Fighters comeback.
Over Mick Jagger.
Okay, that's fine though. Actually, I don't care too much about that.
Okay, well I do because I like the Rolling Stones. So
Okay, but he's fallen off.
he's an icon. I'm not saying he should have won. I'm just saying the fact that Boy Genius won over him was kind of ridiculous. Best rock album. Paramore. What
That's
are we
fine.
doing? What are we doing? Paramore, best rock album? They're an emo band. What? Same thing, it's like the same issue with Boy Genius, is that Paramore is literally just like an indie band and we're calling it rock. Let's not do that. How about we don't do that?
Alright.
The fact that they won over Greta Van Fleet, Starcatcher it's beyond me.
No, I'm actually very happy about that. If Greta Van Fleet won anything, that would be like a justification of the fact that they're just, a copycat of a much more successful band.
Are you talking about Led Zeppelin?
Of course.
No. Okay, this is my argument with that. Let's hear it. Let's talk about the fact that Led Zeppelin are the godfathers of rock and roll, are they not? They are, okay? How many bands have copied Led Zeppelin?
Okay, there's a difference.
No,
There's between
lot.
we're gonna do Led Zeppelin's whole thing.
Let's just because Josh Kiska sounds like Robert Plant doesn't mean that he's trying to be Robert Plant. And if anything, props to Josh Kiska because he's able to be able to sing like that. Doesn't mean he's trying to copy him. Let's stop doing that. Rock and roll music will always copy itself again and again and again. If we want to hate artists because they sound like somebody else, hate everybody because they all sound like everybody else. I'm tired. No.
You know what the difference
No.
is? You know what the difference
No.
is? Alright, and this is I thought the Academy got this correct. Because listen, if they chose to celebrate commercial success. You know who hasn't had commercial success in the past like half decade? Greta Van Fleet. They don't have artistic success already because once again, they're just a Led Zeppelin copy.
They're not though. Starcatcher is so different. Okay, their Led Zeppelin copy would be like their earlier albums because at that point they were trying to get somewhere. But now they're already somewhere. They're selling out stadiums and everything. And Starcatcher was like an actual creative album. Have you listened to the whole album? No, you haven't. Thank you. Thank you. Starcatcher is so much better than their other albums because you can tell that at this point the boys are like, we have a really solid fan base. This time we can actually experiment because we have backing to do that and we have the money to do that. So listen to the album, come back here next time and tell me about it because no, I'm sorry, that's not a good argument.
Okay.
So best rock album, I think overall, if you want to diss Greta Van Fleet, then it should have been Foo Fighters. Queens of the Stone Age, I don't think so.
What? No, in Times New Roman's a great. Okay, this will take forever. We're moving on. Best R&B performance, ICU.
Coco Jones, Okay Girl. I mean, I'm just glad that she didn't get Best New Artist because she's been on the radio for a very long time. She just died out. Doesn't mean that she's new.
And I also gotta say, this. I know the nomination committee and the people who put the show together are different. I don't know how the people who put the show together can be like, guys, Sis is gonna perform. She's gonna do Kill Bill. Why? Because it's a great song. And then the nomination committee's like, actually, you know what? We should give the best R&B performance to Coco Jones. I really think she deserves it.
Yeah. I actually have never heard the song ICU, but I know Coco Jones and I've heard her voice over SZA. That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
And I also think Coco Jones is just like an industry plant. She's been that way since she was a child. she probably ran out of money to pay her managers and everything to make her more famous, and then somehow got the money, don't know how, and then paid them to make her famous again, and I think that's what happened. I think that's why she's relevant now, but I don't think she's talented. Whoops.
Best R&B
Anyways.
song, Snooze. Yay.
Yay.
SZA won. SZA
Finally.
won, guys.
Woo!
She got it. We figured it out.
She did it. Okay.
Best progressive R&B album, SOS. SZA won again. Yay! Woo! I'm so glad. I'm so glad we're continuing the trend of shoving all black female musicians into the R&B category. I'm so happy this is the only thing they can win. This is great, guys. To the Grammy nomination committee, good job.
Good
You guys
job.
did a really good job with this one, guys. Shout out.
Oh. Woo.
Most of these I don't care about too much. Best rap performance. Okay, Grammy bait isn't a thing. If there was Grammy bait, scientists and engineers would be, because Killer Mike pulled out the cheat code, which is featuring Andre 3000 on anything. All right, he pulled out the cheat code and it won and it worked. That's fine. Scientists and Engineers as a song is fine. I don't think Michael should have won Best Album though. That's I don't like Michael. I think it's kind of.
I'm just glad
garbled.
Drake didn't win, because that would have just been hilarious.
Okay, Drake's got a. Well, Drake didn't even get nommed though. No, he did. He got. Well,
He got nominated, but he didn't win.
Yeah, best rap song, Science and Engineers. Best rap album, yeah, Killer Mike. I thought Nas would have won.
Real. Okay, agreed.
I think Travis Scott album was good. It wouldn't have won.
Travis Scott, boo.
Hater.
Get out.
No, you're
Get
just
out.
a hater.
No, get out. He's an awful human being. Goodbye.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
God, why you gotta hate so much? But Nas, with the Kings and Disease 3, that was a really good
Well,
album.
Nas is like really good.
Yeah.
Like really good. Like
Mhm.
if he's an industry plant, which I don't agree with personally, but if he is, he's doing a phenomenal job because everything he's produced is just good,
Mhm.
and he's very talented. Like not only like rapping, but like as a performer, very talented. Very. I
No.
like him.
Definitely. I mean, I think that's, in terms of what we talked about, I think that's
we
pretty much
did
it.
everything. Oh, did you want to talk about bluegrass?
Not really.
No, we're kind of good, guys.
chilling.
We're kind of good to go.
Well, anyway, guys, the Grammys has proved once again that it is fully corrupt and it cares purely about what's commercially successful, except when it's not commercially successful, which is very confusing. And,
My brain hurts.
yes, same.
I'm mourning.
Yes, we are all in mourning.
We're all in mourning. Should have worn black.
And with that, we'll see you next week.
Bye.